minutes. We're going to wait for everyone to join in. So let's wait for 2 minutes and then we'll begin. Hi, everyone, once again. I think we can get started. So, welcome again to a webinar at JDoodle. Today, we're going to be talking about we're going to go in depth and talk about one of the really cool features of JDoodle is the assessment platform. So, the assessment platform allows you to create and auto-grade assignments. Okay, so before we move ahead, I'm just going to give you a brief about JDoodle and what JDoodle is all about. For those of you who don't know, we are an AI-powered cloud-based IDE and programming platform. We support 88 plus languages. We are loved by around 1 million users worldwide, which is super awesome. And we also help educational institutions make programming more efficient and effective. That's a little bit just about us. We have amazing features like you can use compiler APIs to embed IDEs on your platforms. And we also have an AI called JDroid. So it's an AI powered tool. And we also have the assessment platform that we will be taking you through. Introducing our speaker for today is Lucas Hakewill. He is the go-to-market lead here at JDoodle. He comes with enormous amount of experience. He has like a diverse background in learning design, academia, technology, and banking. And he brings a very different perspective to our platform. And we're super excited to have him here today. So over to you, Lucas.
Thank you so much, Melvi. Great to see you all. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Good evening. My name is Lucas Hakewill. If you can't tell by my accent, I'm joining you from Sydney, Australia. JDoodle is an Australian-founded company. I'm joining you from Gadigal land here in Sydney. It's a beautiful day here today. I'm really excited to be here sharing with you a little bit about JDoodle's assessment capabilities. Melvi mentioned that we're loved by over 1 million users, and that includes over 10,000 education institutions. And JDoodle was started by our founder, Gokul Chandrasekaran, and it really stemmed from his experience studying computer science at university in Madurai in the south of India, and the experience of having to book a computer to use for 1 hour in order to complete his coding assignments. And what he discovered was that 20 minutes of that hour was spent setting up his programming environment. And the surprising thing is that that hasn't changed too much. Certainly our ability to access affordable computing devices is a lot easier, but you'd be surprised by how many parts of the world it is still difficult to get a great set of infrastructure for students to learn coding. And This is why I'd like to start by sharing some of the challenges that educators experience, that we've observed and that we've heard from educators. I'll share a little bit about the challenges. I'll tell you a little bit about JDoodle's assessment platform, and then we're going to go into a demo of how you, as an educator, as a teacher, as an education technology leader, how you can use JDoodle to turbocharge your assessments, to save your teacher time, and to automatically assess students' coding ability. So here's what teachers tell us that they experience as challenges every day. The first two are around infrastructure. This is a challenge for schools, for education institutions, is if they want to supply their own devices in a computer lab for students to learn how to code, that's a costly setup. And what education institutions find is that they purchase a set of computers, and then very quickly that hardware becomes out of date. They discover how complex it is to manage all of this infrastructure, and having all of these, I suppose, these assets on campus becomes a little bit of a burden. Now, the alternative, bring your own device for students to bring whichever device they wish, has its own set of headaches, whereby if you have a classroom with 30 different devices, you can be guaranteed that there will be 30 different setups, 30 different potential bugs, and 30 different areas that need to be updating. And so for a teacher who's teaching a class of students how to code, we've discovered that they're spending around 20% of their time helping students to troubleshoot their programming environments. And we don't think that's good enough. So that's the reasoning behind JDoodle, why JDoodle exists, and why any student can go to jdoodle.com, can open up our IDE in over 88 languages, can type in some code, can execute or compile and execute the code, regardless of whichever device they're on, whether it's a Chromebook, whether it's an iPad, whether it's a low-powered PC, and get the exact same experience. Now, another teacher concern is, of course, cheating, and the rise of LLMs like ChatGPT is making it easier for students to generate code that doesn't necessarily that may trick traditional plagiarism detection software. And that's where we're looking to innovate with our own AI tools in the very near future. Similarly, teachers are expected to navigate larger and larger amounts of students with fewer resources. And this is the reality of the modern world. And so addressing a student's question quickly can be difficult. Similarly, our AI tools will be able to support teachers as an AI teaching assistant. Now, the key problem that we're talking about today is really the fact that it is time consuming for teachers to grade all of their students' programming assessments. If you're a professor with 300, 400, 500 introduction to Java students in your course, I'm sure you have an army of TAs supporting that marking, but we know that it's complex and time consuming. And if that 300, 400, 500 students is going to increase in the future, particularly say if you're running an education technology platform and you're seeing massive growth, then scaling that infrastructure to support thousands of students logging in at once to do an assessment, that's expensive and can be a little bit difficult. And that's what we excel at in JDoodle. So enough about the challenges, a little bit about our assessment platform. It's a really user-friendly tool. We've built some flexible user management with a number of different roles, which I'll be able to show you. Most importantly, it has automated grading of coding assessments, as well as of things like multiple choice questions. We're able to select a diverse range of question types: multiple choice, short answer, coding problems, and true or false problems. And importantly, for education institutions who are teaching most of the time out of an LMS, you're able to integrate JDoodle directly into your LMS. If we have time today, I might be able to show you some of this feature, but we will focus mostly on the assessments component of JDoodle. and we'll be able to share a little more about integrations in future webinars. When we look at other comparative platforms, many of them have some similar features around being able to assign particular user roles, customize assessments, and do some automated grading. What we think JDoodle excels at is our LMS integration, some of our flexibility around exception handling when students might request a reevaluation, as well as being able to see how students are tracking as they submit their assessment. So I think that's it for the slides. I'm going to take you through a live demo. As with any live demo, it's always prone to hiccups, so please bear with me if I have a few little hiccups. I know my team will be behind me, regretting letting the sales guy do a webinar, but hopefully we can make this work with some great coding assessments. And let's get started. So I suppose the first thing that I would like to do as I switch over to sharing my screen is I'll just show you a little bit about the JDoodle platform and how, as an educator, you might start to set up an organization. Alrighty. Bear with me 1 second. I think you can all see that, and Mel, I trust you will yell at me if we can't. Here we are on the JDoodle main page. Now I have logged in as a test person. So all you need to do here is create an account in JDoodle, and here you can log in. I can use all of JDoodle's standard features, like I'm able to jump into the Java IDE. I can execute some code. If I have made a mistake, I can in fact request JDroid's help to debug my code, and it's found the missing semicolon here. So this is the standard JDoodle user experience where we're able to do all of our coding requirements. But here's what's interesting to us. We want to set up an assessment. In order to do that, we need to have an organization. So in JDoodle, we have the concept of an individual user and an organization. In order to create an assessment, we need an organization. So I'm going to create an organization here. Oops, my name, my test organization. Your organization code is a 3 to 10 digit code. It has to be unique, but you can select whatever you like. And we'll say that I am an academic. Okay, now I have a test organization. I'm going to switch over to the organization view. And here we can see I have options for assessments, embed, teams, and API. Now, what I'm going to do today is create an assessment and invite some students to that assessment. So I'm actually going to start by inviting some students to my organization. So I have, here's a few that I've prepared earlier. I'm going to invite this test student as a student. So you can see here that we have some really robust permission sets where you're able to give someone some organization privileges, administration over the organization. They might be able to access my API privileges. We can talk about the APIs in another webinar, a very powerful feature. They might be able to create embeds where JDoodle's IDE is embedded directly into your LMS, for example, as well as assessments. Am I a student, a teacher, or an administrator? I might also be able to grant some access, if I had a paid plan, to the premium IDE. This gives me some more powerful computing power and some more AI credits as well. But for now, all I need is for this individual to be a student, so that I'm able to add them in. Now, if we go over to my email address, we'll see that I've received an invitation as this student that I will need to accept here. So that's our student invitation piece. And if I have a look over here at my email, we'll see I've been invited to my test organization. If I accept this invitation, we can see now I have the opportunity to accept. And now I can see if I've been assigned any assessments. And we won't see anything yet because I haven't created an assessment. All right, here we go. We've added a student. If I refresh, it should show that they're active. Great. So I'm going to go back to my test organization and go to create an assessment. My test Java assessment. Testing for the webinar. Now, I told you that JDoodle has over 88 languages. Here you can see the list. There's some really popular ones like Java, C, C++. We can use Node.js for JavaScript. There's also some much less familiar languages here, some really unusual ones that you may or may not have heard of. For today, I'm going to select Java. I can pick which version of Java I'm using. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Do I want to automatically disclose the result to the students or manually do this myself as a teacher? If this is simply a formative assessment for just as a weekly learning experience, perhaps I want to enable on assignment submission. For me, I want some rigor here, so I don't want my students to know their mark until it's released to everyone. My result type, I can give my students both a mark and a comment, only a mark, or only a comment, which perhaps is useful for formative assessment that's not specifically marked. I will select mark and comment, and I would like JDoodle to auto-correct my answers and also automatically assign a mark. I'm not going to select negative marking. Negative marking is if a student gets something specific wrong, they will lose a point. I want to do positive marking here. So here I am creating my test Java assessment. And here we see we have a question roster, we have a list of students, we have a list of teachers. I can add some other teachers. I'm an administrator. Perhaps I want some other teachers to be able to help me with this. But for now, I will create some questions. Now you can see here I have a few options. I'm able to create multiple choice questions, either one correct answer or multiple correct answers. I can create an open-ended question. I can create a programming question or a true or false question. So for now, I will start with a multiple choice question. And you'll have to forgive me. I've prepared this earlier. So I'm going to copy and paste this multiple choice question. Okay, so here's the question I've written. Which of the following is true about the main method in a Java application? And I'm going to assign a mark of 2 points to this. And I need to add my answer choices. So first choice, it must return a value of type int. Second choice, it can only take a string array as parameters. Third choice, it must be declared private. And fourth and correct choice, it is the entry point of the application and it must be both public and static. Okay, the main method in the Java application. All right, we've got 4 choices. We have a correct answer marked. We have assigned a mark. We can add this question. Now I have one more multiple choice question because I want to show you something interesting formatting wise. You'll see here I have some HTML tags, pre tags. This is a way of showing some code, and you'll see when we preview the assessment, you'll see that this will come up nicely formatted. If you don't include these tags, then JDoodle will ignore your new lines. So you want to include some tags here just to format your code correctly. So this one is out of 2. Okay, we are dividing 2 integers. 5 divided by 2 should be 2.5, but we've declared result variable as an integer, so I think the result there should be 2. Here's the sales guy doing the webinar again. So let's give us an incorrect answer, the correct answer, something else, and maybe great. Okay, so we have a question formatted, we've given it a mark, we've got 4 choices and 1 correct answer. You can heckle me in the comments if I got that wrong. All right, 2 multiple choice questions.
Lucas, I believe the correct answer was 2.5. I think you've selected 2 as the correct answer.
Yeah, Anuj, this is a little bit of a programming nuance. It's because the variable is an integer. It actually can't store an answer of 2.5. So it's going to store 2 because it will round down.
Cool.
So that's a sneaky one. All right. We've got our trick question in there. Let's do a program. This is really the interesting one. The one that we've been waiting for is, what does auto evaluation of a program look like? So you'll see here I have space for a question. I can again select the language if I need to override the language. I can create some test cases, and I can either give the whole thing a mark or a score, or I can score at a test case level. I'm going to score at a test case level. So my question, what I want to do is write a Java program that will find and print all the prime numbers between 1 and n, including n itself. So we should take n as an integer, as a command line argument, and output the prime numbers in that range from 1 to n with spaces in between them. And so an example command line input, I have some formatting here that's making it a little hard to read at the moment. So if I put into the command line Java prime numbers 10, then the expected output would be 2, 3, 5, 7. And in my test case, I'm going to test with that trailing space. Okay, so there's our problem. Let's add some test cases. So if my command line arguments are 10, then my expected output will be 2, 3, 5, 7. Now I'm able to select a maximum CPU time to ensure that my students are using an efficient algorithm, as well as maximum memory permitted. And I can give this test case a specific score. So I'll give it a 1. Now I can either input arguments, or I can do standard input here. So it's important in your questions to clarify to your students, are you requesting that they submit arguments or standard input? Okay, let's add 2 more test cases. So if my arguments is 20, then I'm expecting this output. And I'll give that a mark of 2. And I will add one more test case, 500. And my expected output. Here we go. And I'll give that a score of 2. Okay. So I have a question. I have 3 test cases. I've selected the correct language and version. I'm marking at a test case level. I will create my question. Okay. Now I go to publish my assignment, and what will happen is JDoodle will tell me that I need to add a student. Okay, so I will go manage my students, and now because my student has accepted, I get to add them, and now I have a student that's yet to start the assessment. I will publish my assessment. And this is a limitation that we've just removed, so stay tuned for this, that the assessment at the moment takes about 3 minutes to publish. Next version of JDoodle released very shortly removes that requirement. So we have about 3 minutes here that we'll wait for this, this student to receive their assessment. Now, in the meantime, I thought I might just show you another organization where I have a few assessments already set up. Before I do that, my request and encouragement to you is, I know I'm sharing a lot here, and I'd really love to know what specific questions you have. We'll allocate a bit of time at the end of the webinar for your questions, so please just feel free to type your questions in the Q&A. Melvi and Anuj will be able to help me out there with the questions, and we'll make sure we allocate some time there at the end. So if I find my correct login here, here's one I prepared earlier with the JDoodle Coding Academy, and I've set up a multiple choice question and a coding test in Java, and a couple of interesting things that I wanted to show you here is we're able to, in a quite granular way, see a student's progress. Have they started the quiz? Are they yet to begin? Or have we, in fact, been able to announce their result? Now, what you'll also see here is that there's an opportunity to, we can see the student's assessment. We can see the code that they've submitted. We can see the results of the test cases. And we're even able to test their code ourselves, give it some input arguments, and see what the result is that the student's code is coming up with. And we're able to, in a quite granular way, if a student, for example, has requested a reevaluation, we can reopen this assessment for reevaluation. We can rerun the automatic evaluation. We can write our own comments in here. So there's quite a lot of flexibility around how you manage your students and their marking within JDoodle. And we really like the fact that teachers have that flexibility to manage some of the exceptions, I suppose. Of course, it's possible to invite other teachers. We have to add them as part of the organization first. So we add them in our teams. We're able to manage users, add another teacher. As long as they've accepted, then we're able to add them in as a teacher in our assessment. So that's just a little more on the managing itself of the students in JDoodle. Now let's see if our 3 minutes is up and if our course has been approved. So here I am as a student Let me make sure that I've got the right window. Bear with me. Here we go. This is the correct one. All right. And here we are. We have our test Java assessment. It's been sent to us. It's a private test just for us. In fact, you'll see in my inbox that I've been sent an invite to this assessment. I'm able to click on it to start the assessment, or of course, I can go directly from where I am in JDoodle. I can view my assessment. Okay, shall I attend my assessment? Let's see if I get the answers correct. Which of the following is true about the main method in a Java application? Let's give an incorrect answer here. What will be the output of the following Java code snippet? You'll remember that I included some HTML tags in here, and this is the result that I'm able to see this coming up as code. We said it was 2. Please feel free to correct me on my Java. All right, let's write the Java program. Here's one I prepared earlier. I'm copying this from a document. Okay, so as a student, I have written some code here to find and print all the prime numbers between 1 and the given number n. And I am going to take some input arguments. So let's test if we think it's working. What should the output of 1 be? Nothing. So I can continue to test this. Am I confident that the output of my program is correct? Let's say yes. So I'll review my assessment. I'm going to submit my assignment. All right. So now all I will see is that I have submitted my assessment. I can still come back here. I can view what I submitted. I can't go back and update it, but I can see what I have submitted. I can check out my code, try it again, be sad when I discover a mistake. But until my teacher actually marks my assessment for me to see again, I won't be able to see my results. So let's go back to the teacher and let's just see. So here we have the test student, and we note that the quiz has been evaluated. Now that's because all of the questions here were marked for auto evaluation. So I can come in here and I can see how did my students do. So I can see, okay, my student's first multiple choice question was incorrect. Wrong answer, correct answer is this. I've got the correct answer on question 2. And we can see that I've got 3 correct test cases. One was worth 1 mark. The other 2 were worth 2 marks for a total of 5 marks. If I get an incorrect test case, it will note this in the comment from the teacher, and the mark allotted will be lower as a result of this. So I can go back to my summary. I can see, great, the student has been correctly marked. I'm happy with that. Happy to disclose the result. Here we go. Students got 7 out of 9 for this test. Now I should have back in my email as a student a note just to say the results ready. I can go view the result. And I can see how I went. I can even request that my teacher reevaluate. I won't in this case because I can see that I clearly got the wrong answer. But I'll go back to my summary. This is the broad arc of how the assessment and auto-grading tool works in JDoodle. As you can see, and I may stop sharing my screen so you can see me. As you can see, JDoodle is able to set both the simpler questions like multiple choice questions, as well as more complex questions like a Java program or a more complex programming question. We're able to auto-evaluate against multiple test cases and create much more complex and rich programming assignments for our students. Now, contrary to the experience of having to set up our own testing system and test cases, or heaven forbid, having to run all the students' code on our own environment, we're able to do this in a controlled and secure environment in JDoodle and save your teachers so much time and effort in creating programming assignments. We have a few exciting features on the roadmap which will make teachers' lives and administrators' lives so much easier when we're thinking about creating assessments, about marking short answer questions. And so please do stay tuned for further webinars on JDroid AI and how this is going to continue to help make teachers' lives easier. Now, I'm just jumping into the chat, and I can see someone's got my back on integer division there in Java. Okay, we've got a couple of questions here around the unit tests, around can we create multiple files. So at the moment, these questions are not allowing for multiple files. We do have options in our custom plans for more complex use cases. And so right now, I can only see the first letter of your name, YC, I'm sorry. We're not able to do more complex unit testing in this base assessment tool. But if you're interested in a more complex use case, I'd really encourage you to reach out because there's a lot of rich functionality under the hood of JDoodle that we're able to offer to some of our custom plan customers. So it's certainly in our roadmap. I think the question around, is this for a premium account? This is a really important thing as well. Just in general, this assessment tool that I have shown you, everything in JDoodle is available in the free plan. You can try out this assessment tool for free right now for up to 20 students. And I really encourage you to do that because we make sure that there is something available for free always. And the goal is that you're able to get some value for free. So we want you to be able to give this assessment tool a go and try out how things work without having to pay us any money. You get to try before you buy. I think I've answered all of the questions in the chat. Folks, please jump in if any last questions there. If not, we might be able to wrap things up a tiny bit early. All right. I think we're looking good. I might throw back to you, Melvi.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Thank you so much, Lucas. It was awesome. I think you took us really thoroughly through the assessment platform. It was quite amazing. Before I let you guys go, I just want to let you know that we are active on a lot of social media platforms. So it would be amazing if you guys could give us a follow, share us, spread our JDoodle name a lot around your programming communities across educational institutions. That would be super amazing. Also, if you have any questions, whether it is during this webinar or even after the webinar, you can always reach us out to us on our Discord channel. Also, you can reach out to us at hello@jdoodle.com. What I will do is I'm just going to post our Discord channel link at any point of time. If you have any questions or queries, you can just post it to us on Discord, or you could mail us at hello@jdoodle.com. So that's the link and the email ID in the chat below. Please do share what you think about our webinar, as well as do reach out to us on our various platforms. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. Please do stay tuned for a lot of upcoming webinars, especially an exciting one on our AI assistant tool. So I will catch you in the next webinar. Thank you once again, guys, for joining in. Bye.